مجمع الأندلس التعليمي، تعلم عصري ملهم بهوية وطنية وقيم إسلامية.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبسم الله نبدأ درسا جديدا. Dear students of grade 9, today we are going to talk about Module 3B Grammar, page 33. Our lesson today is relative pronouns and relative adverb. لكن قبل أن نبدأ في الدرس دعونا نتكلم قليلا عن قيمة من أجل وأهم القيم. هذه القيمة هي قيمة الإتقان. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن الله تعالى يحب إذا عمل أحدكم عملا أن يتقنه. إذن فهذه دعوة لكم أحباء الطلاب في هذا الوقت الحساس من العام ونحن على أعتاب الاختبارات. إذن فالله في الإتقان، فلنحرص جميعا على إتقان العمل. جعلنا الله وإياكم ممن يتقنون أعمالهم. Today we are going to talk about relative pronouns like who, which, that, whose, and the relative adverb where. But before we start, let us discuss this video. So let us begin. Relative pronouns. Relative pronouns like who, whom, which, whose, and that. We use who or whom with people. We use which for things or ideas. We use whose for possession, الملكية. While we use that for people and also for things. Let's take some examples. I have a friend, he can speak English. So I can say, I have a friend who can speak English. Another example, I know the girl, you met her yesterday. I can say, I know the girl whom you met yesterday. That is a castle, my father bought it. I can say, that is a castle which my father bought. I have a friend, his mother is a teacher. I can say, I have a friend whose mother is a teacher. He is the man, I talked to him yesterday. He is the man that I talked to him yesterday. That is a bus, I need to get on it. That is a bus that I need to get on. Now let us explain what we have discussed. Again, we use who for people. For example, the girl who is talking to the teacher is my cousin. Who, relative pronoun, ضمير الوصل. The relative clause who is talking to the teacher بتعود على the girl. Next, the man who you talk to is my father. The relative pronoun is who. The relative clause is who you talk to, and it refers to the man. Also, we can say the sentence without who because it refers to an object. إذا كانت who تعود على المفعول وليس الفاعل بإمكاننا أن نحذفها. كالتالي: The man you talk to is my father. We use which for animals or things or ideas. Number 1. The dog which is barking at the boy belongs to Mr. Smith. 2. The book which you bought was interesting. Which is a relative pronoun, it refers to the book. Again, which is a relative pronoun, it refers to the book. Also, I can in this sentence I can omit which because it refers to the object. كما قلت إذا كان الضمير يعود على المفعول بإمكاننا أن نحذفه. So I can say the book you bought was interesting. We use whose for possession for people and things. نستخدم whose للملكية سواء مع الأشخاص أو مع الأشياء. For example, do you know the girl whose hair is long? Whose is the relative pronoun. It refers to the girl. ونلاحظ يا شباب إن whose دائما يأتي بعدها اسم بينما هو يأتي بعدها مباشرة فعل. هذا هو الفارق. who يأتي بعدها فعل أما whose فيأتي بعدها اسم كالمثال التالي. Look at that man whose house was painted red. Again, whose is the relative pronoun. It refers to the man. We use that with things and also with people. In other words, we may use it instead of which and instead of who. The students that were here last year are studying at the secondary school. I can say the students who were here yesterday or last year are studying at the secondary school. Number two, the book that was on the table belongs to your teacher. The book is a thing, not a person. We used that. I can use which instead of that, and vice versa. So, to sum it up, I can use that instead of which or who. And we come to the relative adverb, where هنا بمعنى حيث وهي تشير إلى المكان. This is a coffee shop where I met my friends. This is a coffee shop where I met my friends. هذا هو المكان حيث أقابل أصدقائي. They can be omitted. Who, which, that, whose, and where can be omitted. Now we come to an important point. Who, which, that, whose, and where can be omitted. But when? They can be omitted if they refer to the object. Again, if they refer to an object. إذا كانوا يشيرون إلى مفعول وليس الفاعل. إذا كانت تشير إلى الفاعل فلا أستطيع أن أحذفها من الجملة. Let's see how. For that, the comic book that you bought is interesting. The comic book here is an object. The subject is you. So since it refers to an object, I can omit it. I can discard it. So I can say, the comic book you brought is interesting. Another example. The house that they tried to sell was old. Again, that refers to the house which is an object. And again, I can remove it. The house they tried to sell was old. I told you about the woman who lives next door. Who refers to the woman which is an object, and again I can remove it. I told you about the woman lives next door. Another example. Do you see that cat which is lying on the carpet? Which refers to the cat, and as I said before, we can remove it if it refers to an object. So it will be like this. Do you see the cat lying on the carpet? Now, before we go to answer the activities, let's sum up what we have discussed.
Learning upgrade. Here we go again. Relative pronouns come after a noun. who, whose, whom, which, that. They introduce a relative clause that tells you about the noun. The man who lives next door is a dentist. The relative pronoun is who. The relative clause is who lives next door. It tells us about the man. Relative adverbs come after a noun. Where, when, why. They introduce a relative clause that tells you about the noun. This is the store where I bought my bike. The relative adverb is where. The relative clause is where I bought my bike. It tells us about the store. Relative adverbs come after a noun. I told you so.
So, dear students, now after watching, let us go to exercise B, page 33. We use for people. We use what for people? As we said before, we use who, and also we use that. And for things, animals, and ideas, we use which and also that. For places, we use yes, we use where. To refer to position, we use whose. Very well. Let's move to exercise C. Complete with who, which, that, whose, or where. If they can be omitted, put them in brackets. Number 1. Do you know a shop I can get a good dictionary? Do you know a shop? A shop is a place. So the answer is where? B. There is a shopping center on Graham Avenue. Has 3 bookshops. The answer is which or that, because it refers to the shopping center. B. But there are lots of good online dictionaries you can use. The noun here is dictionaries. Dictionaries, so it will be which or that you can use. The internet is the place you should look first. The internet is a place where you should look first, because it refers to a place. You think? B said, yeah, I have a friend. Father is a writer. Now, a friend is a person, but it is followed by a noun. As we said, it will be whose, not who. 2. Is that man? 2. Is that the camera you had with you the other day? Is that the camera? Camera is a thing, so it will be which or that. No, this is Jeremy's camera. Who's Jeremy? He is the neighbor, looks after my cat. The neighbor is a person, so we use who or that. It looks like a good camera. It is. He also has got one you can use underwater. He has got one which or that you can use underwater. Now let's come to our final section of this lesson. Let us practice. Fill in the blank with the correct relative pronoun. This is the building was on fire last week. The building is a thing. So, yes, which or that. Number 2. The man robbed the bank were caught. The men, this is people, and it is followed by a verb. So, the men who or that. 3. The car doors are red belongs to my teacher. The car is an object, but it is followed by noun, so we cannot say which. We will use, yes, excellent, we will use whose. Number 4. The book I bought for my son has a lot of pictures in it. The book, which, or that. Number 5. The house they live is big. Pay attention that we are referring to the house as a place, not as an object. So, the house where they live. Number 6. The house we bought is big. Now here we are referring to the house as an object. So, yes, very good. So, the house which or that. Finally, that is a restaurant we eat steak. Restaurant here we refer to as a place. So, that is a restaurant where we eat steak. So, dear students, by this we come to the end of our session today. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
مجمع الأندلس التعليمي، تعلم عصري ملهم بهوية وطنية وقيم إسلامية.